Hello, everybody, to this Parca office hour. It's October 20th already, and we are super excited for today's Parca office hours. We have lots of things to talk about. And before that, yeah, as always, be excellent to each other, be nice, follow the code of conduct that we have, kind of like we're following the CNCF one. So yeah, be excellent to each other. First of all, we have released version 0.13 of Parca, which is super, super exciting, but we also have to be completely honest, and we kind of failed to release sooner. So going forward, we hope to release more often again, and we'll hold ourselves accountable in doing so. If there are releases, if there are no releases for longer periods of time, please make sure to also ping us on various channels. And we also had a discussion about a release cadence again. But yes, like whenever we right now merge something bigger, we are planning to release more often, so that you can get these things sooner than later. And also the changelog isn't as big as today's changelog. But we have some exciting things to talk about because of that nonetheless. So maybe it also has something good to it. Yeah, and I think the first big news and announcement is the Grafana plugin that was released for Parca, or actually the Parca plugin released for Grafana, that way around. And yeah, let's open up a blog post that we have written and quickly discuss it. So on the website you can find the announcement, and yeah, it's been crazy in terms of like the requests we've gotten to have a Grafana plugin. So we're super excited to give this to the community today. Right now, the plugins, we eventually want to have them in the Grafana plugin store, or whatever it's called, marketplace, so that you can just like type Parca and find them and install them. But until that's approved, you can follow this guide on the blog post. And yeah, pretty much it's just like start a Parca Grafana instance, set this Parca. Gosh, I'm like mixing up, like I've been all over Parca and Grafana, so excuse me. Yeah, add these environment variables to Grafana, so that like it needs to be in development mode so that it can like actually load these two plugins which aren't signed. So that's why you need to set it into development, and then you can add a data source and create dashboards which have panels that are flame graphs, which is super exciting. And additionally, we not only have that available, but we also have a hosted version of that. So if you go to demo.parca.dev, which we usually often look at in this call, you can also go to /Parca on that domain, but it's also like linked in the blog post, and find the Parca dashboard. And this Parca dashboard will now directly Grafana. I'm sorry again, like the Grafana dashboard. It's been a long day, and I've been mixing up Parca and Grafana all day long. So yeah, please excuse that. The Grafana dashboard will then talk to the demo of Parca and pull the correct profiles from there. As you can see, this is I can't, like, this is in read-only mode, basically. So I don't know if we can see the query somehow. Maybe we can see the query in here. Yeah, so in here we are selecting the Parca namespace, and then just the Parca agents. And that will be merged over the 15 minutes that we have selected. And then down here, we just select a Prometheus instance running on that same cluster that is being profiled by that Parca instance as well. And we can like change the time frame. So now we're like merging over 5 minutes, whereas before it was over 15 minutes. And something we definitely want to add is the demo that Manoj has done and posted on Twitter, where you can see a graph, and then you can zoom in, and then it's this time frame that has been selected, and the profiles are merged for that time frame. Just out of due to like time reasons, we didn't get to that earlier. But yeah, that's something we are going to look at, and you can get like both flame graphs and icicle graphs in here. You can scroll through them and just interact with them, like you know from Parca. Just that you can do all of this from the Parca from the Grafana instance that you're running. I just caught myself there saying, mixing it up again. Yeah, so that is super exciting, and something people have been asking for a long time. And we're like super stoked to get everybody's feedback and see what people have to say about this. Anything to add? Anything to ask about the Grafana plugin? Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So Parca, I'm assuming Parca agent isn't running anywhere. So how are these flame graphs being generated?
So the demo, this is like the demo cluster, like demo.parca.dev is a Kubernetes cluster, and that Kubernetes cluster is running a Parca, a daemon set, so like 4 pods of Parca agent, and they are profiling everything on their machines, and then they send the profiles to the Parca instance, and that's what this Grafana plugin is connecting to. So we are kind of looking at the same thing. Or like at the profiles from the same cluster.
Thanks. There's a demo that's been posted in the comments. I'll look at that.
Yes. All right. Let me know if you have any questions in regards to all of this. But kind of like a nice segue into another feature that we have in Parca. See you, Frederick. Take care. A super nice feature that we now have in version 0.13 is the targets page also shows Parca agents. So if exactly that question is coming up that you just had, like, are there like Parca agents running, where are they running, etc. This is where you can finally see this. Before there was always like a blank page on the demo instance because we weren't showing the Parca agents writing into Parca, and now we're like at least tracking them by their name and the address they are writing from, so we can deduplicate them and just like show a nice overview of what is happening. As you can see, like they're like updating the last time they've been pushed from, and I just saw a bug that should call last push. That's great. Anyways, so you can see all of this here now, and yeah, these are the 4 Parca agents that are writing to this Parca instance, and then the Grafana plugin for Parca is able to read that data from that instance of Parca. So yet another super exciting feature, and the API and like the Go code for all of this was like contributed by someone from the community, which was super exciting and super awesome to see. And then we just like tied it up with the UI and made sure it gets into version 0.13. Any other questions? Right. Then I think Monica has to show us something. It's super exciting as well. So many good things. So do you want to take over the screen sharing?
Sure, happy to. So 1 second. Okay, hopefully I'm sharing the right tab. So yeah, I've been working on putting together a Callgraph, so a new type of visualization, and this now is not in the latest release. This is just looking at localhost right now, so what I have locally, but I put a PR out today with some of the latest changes. So basically, the Callgraph is hidden behind a feature flag right now. There's instructions in our docs on how you can enable and disable that feature, but I have it enabled, and so I click Callgraph, and this is basically what the latest version looks like. So the previous version, which you may have seen during previous office hours, had nodes visualized as circles. Now we've changed those to boxes and added labels for nodes that are large enough or significant enough to fit that label. So we have a tooltip for more information, and you can scroll over the nodes that don't have a label as well. And yeah, and this is what the latest version looks like. We've also changed the colors, and there's still a lot of work to be done in terms of sizing and coloring based on flat values instead of just cumulative values, which is the current case. And so some back-end work is still needed for that. And yeah, and searching. So previously there was some ability to search, and then it would highlight the appropriate nodes, but we basically want to re-render the entire call graph with just those nodes that match the search entry. So that's something else that we'll be working on. And another cool thing to highlight is just that we now have zooming ability, and you can also pan the screen. So, yep. Any comments, questions, suggestions?
It looks amazing. And I actually haven't seen this in like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks. It's definitely been since you last shown it. And like, I don't usually check this out daily as well, right? So it's super exciting to see. Yeah, like that would have been like my follow-up question, but you kind of like dove into this, like what work is left to be done until we like put it or like pull it out of the feature flag, right? Until we have it like in Parca itself for everybody.
Yeah. So I definitely think the like search functionality and like I mentioned, getting the flat values in and sizing based on that as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, again, you already kind of touched on that, so no surprises now that you said so earlier. If you zoom in, are the boxes like the ones that don't have like anything in terms of text shown on them? Does the text show? Okay.
It doesn't change. That's an interesting thought as well, to zoom into those. Another piece though that I was thinking about was some nodes are currently being filtered out already if their cumulative value is too small to be visualized. So that's something that we could think about for like a future iteration as well. Maybe like sort of like brush to zoom into a particular area, or like you mentioned, if you zoom into just normally to have more detail shown on those pieces. But that's yeah, I think that would be like a separate iteration.
Yeah, I think that's pretty advanced already. And like the thought that comes to my mind is like probably what we want to do is like just show the biggest cumulative values in the graph, and once you like zoom in, then actually load them asynchronously from the backend and populate like the things that are in between and smaller, that aren't like super helpful to be shown in this like bigger picture call graph. But yeah, I think that's definitely a second iteration, very advanced already. So you wanted to say something, Steph?
Me? Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's super exciting. So give it a try. Where like in the UI, like somewhere in the UI folder, right? People should be able to find the feature flag and how to enable this.
Yeah, it's in our README in the UI.
Perfect.
In the UI folder. But like I mentioned, this is just like a PR that I put out a few hours ago, so it's not merged or anything. Might still have some edits.
All right. Yeah, looking forward to version 0.14 already. Awesome. No, that's super cool.
Okay,
any other questions?
No.
All right. If not, then Thor, do you want to talk about maybe the performance improvements we've done in Parca in the last week or so?
Oh, in the last week. Yeah, that's easier to do than since the previous release.
Yes.
Because it's been a lot of things. I think off the top of my head, I remember there being 2 pretty large performance improvements. One of them was done by Alfonso. And that was the query changes where we were able to parallelize all of the queries that we do. I guess that wasn't the last week. That's probably a couple weeks ago. But either way, that's probably the biggest performance enhancement that we have to queries is the query engine now runs in parallel, which you'll notice things like range queries and merges performing a lot faster. And then we've also had a lot of improvements to compaction. So compaction now uses it doesn't always split the granule, so sometimes it just condenses the granule to 1, which improved compaction. And then there's actually a PR out today for leveled compaction, where we only compacted previously uncompacted parts that we're seeing really, really good gains in during compaction. I think those are the big ones that I remember. Am I missing anything?
No, I think those pretty much cover the things I had in mind as well. Just to kind of show people again how all of this looks like. So like wrong tab. So in the query API, that is whenever you click on a single profile or a merge profile, etc. Like back here, ignore this. That's when we had some other problems, but you can see we've written more data into Parca at this period again, and because there was more data, the latency spiked. But going forward, since then, we've actually done all of the changes Thor just mentioned, and the improvements are quite significant. As you can see, like the P95 latency spiked, which was compaction just like kicking in every now and then, and that even got so much better again in the last 2 or 3 days again, where now we are never going above our objective in terms of the latency when you click on single profiles. So I think overall, like, these changes might not seem to have such a big impact, but it definitely shows in the latencies every now and then, like especially when there's more load on the system due to compaction, right? And the same is true for the query range, which are the metrics that you see. Yeah, we were quite bad. So you can see the error budget was all burned, but now we're gaining back lots of it and making good progress in terms of staying below our target of 3 seconds for 95% of the queries. So that's super, super exciting as well, performance-wise. All right. I don't think we have anyone from the Parca agent team here. However, let me try to quickly find...
Me.
Go ahead.
The only thing I can mention from my side I worked on, but maybe worth mentioning, is we now support relabeling in the Parca agent. So you can now add labels or customize the existing labels, or even completely drop profiles to avoid sending them to the server. So that should be in the next release, which I don't know when they are planning to release it. The rest of it. They said that should be the end of this week, or maybe next week. So it should be pretty soon. There's still more improvement to relabeling that I'm planning to do. But yeah, for me, that was what I worked on. Yeah.
Yes, good points. Yeah, those are definitely super nice improvements on the Parca agent. Yeah, and I think they're planning, like they were saying, like end of this week. I haven't heard anything from them today. They've probably been busy working on all of it. But yeah, hopefully this week or next week we'll just like Parca get a release again, and then like get in the groove of releasing more often, because also the Parca agent hasn't released since end of July, which is way too long. But yeah, like Javier also worked on something really cool. So I just want to give him a shout out, which is improving the CPU performance. So you can see the average time that a process of the Parca agent takes. So let me, for a second, actually down here, show this over the last week. And we can see that I think like every second we used like 100 milliseconds, 120 milliseconds or something like that for Parca agent. And then there was this like nice drop that Javier worked on. And this is just like the comparison. So like the one is like exactly the same load compared to 1 day ago. And we can see that this like went down to like 40%, 45, 50%. So we kind of like cut the CPU load of Parca agent in half. And I think that's going to definitely land on, I mean, it's already on the main branch. So it's going to land in the next Parca agent release as well, which is super exciting because, yeah, we want the profiling to be somewhat free, but it isn't, right? Like the overhead for the applications isn't huge. That's like 1-2%, but running Parca agent itself has to do some work. So if we can use profiling on the Parca agent itself to improve the performance of the Parca agent itself, then it's always super nice as well. And you can use that CPU time for the applications you are running yourself on that cluster rather than Parca agent. So yeah, that's also been going on next to other feature work in the Parca agent team. Any questions? Anything else to add, to point out? Okay. I mean, it's been a lot of stuff anyway, so we can also end it here. Yeah, if you, probably most likely people watching, are going to make it to KubeCon this coming week, we are happy to talk about all of this there. Frederick, Kemal, and I are going to be flying to Detroit, attending KubeCon, and we're always happy to talk about all of the things, observability and profiling and monitoring, etc. Right? So observability, yes. And in the meantime, as always, you can follow us on Twitter. You can join the Discord for like more up-to-date information, or just getting in touch with the community and everybody to discuss various topics around profiling in Parca. I think that's it. Have a great, wonderful week, and see you in 2 weeks for the next Parca office hours. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.